This is the Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Key Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. President Barrow today inaugurated the Gambia's first ever laboratory for food and drugs testing located at Brusubi Turntable. The World Bank and Government of the Gambia funded facility aims to enhance public health by providing rigorous testing and quality assurance for food and drug products. President Barrow today gave an assurance to Gambians that his government is doing everything possible to restore stable electricity supply across the country following widespread power outages, especially in the Greater Banjul area. As a partial internet shutdown disrupted services across the Gambia on Thursday, affecting businesses and communications, one operator remained up and running. While many users struggle to stay connected, QCell, the country's only Gambian-owned mobile telecommunications company, continued to provide uninterrupted internet services, highlighting the importance of network resilience and backup infrastructure. The Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines on Friday signed a petroleum exploration, development and production license agreement for offshore Block A1 with Eni Gambia Limited on behalf of the Government of the Gambia. The Gambia Tourism Board, GT Board, has expressed serious concern over what it says are deteriorating sanitary conditions, illegal structures and persistent environmental violations in some of the country's key tourism development areas. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. President Barrow today inaugurated the Gambia's first ever laboratory for food and drugs testing located at Brusubi Turntable. As Alusise reports, the World Bank and Government of the Gambia funded facility aims to enhance public health by providing rigorous testing and quality assurance for food and drug products.
For many Gambians, especially the families of victims, the memory of the acute kidney injury AKI crisis in 2022 that claimed the lives of more than 70 children from imported poisonous Indian cough syrup medicine remains a painful reminder of the devastating consequences of unsafe medicines. Today, as President Barrow inaugurated the country's first national food and drug quality control laboratory at Brusubi Turntable, the facility is designed to conduct scientific testing and quality assurance of food, medicines, and other regulated products entering the Gambia market. The state-of-the-art facility will detect substandard and counterfeit products, ensuring that consumers have access to safe and effective food and medicines. It will also reduce reliance on foreign laboratories for testing services. President Barrow described the facility as a landmark achievement that aligns with the government's broader agenda to improve healthcare services and public safety. He commended partners and stakeholders whose support contributed to the realization of the project.
Countries that want to maintain a healthy population must ensure that their nationals eat the right mix of food and take safe and effective medications. Going by such standards, this lab facility is sufficiently furnished with modern equipment to detect harmful elements and bacteria in foodstuff. In the same way, to safeguard public health, well-trained staff will be on hand to test and confirm that medicines used in the country are safely and effective.
The Gambian leader said access to safe drugs is a right, not a privilege.
For ages before the acute kidney injury, AKI, disaster in 2022 until now, we rely on test certificates from India and Ghana. Sometimes we waited for weeks for results of the sample tested abroad. Of course, our citizens paid dearly for that arrangement, as delays often cost lives and substandard medicines generally have negative consequences. This laboratory now empowers us not only to test and verify food items and medicines, but also act on our own terms in accordance with acceptable standards.
Representing the World Bank, Matar Toure said the facility will complement the mandate of the Medicine Control Agency and the Gambia Food Safety and Quality Authority. He commended the leadership of President Barrow for making the project possible.
At a time when regulatory alignment and food safety are becoming more important across the region, this lab stands as a strategic national asset. As we celebrate this inauguration, we must also look ahead. Buildings and equipment alone do not guarantee success. The true value of this lab will be measured by the quality of its operations, the competence of its workforce, the integrity of its systems, the sustainability of its financing, and the consistency in which it delivers reliable results.
Governor Usman Bojang of the West Coast region welcomed the project as transformative.
It just affirms your unwavering and forever unflinching commitment and leadership to transform this country.
As the laboratory begins operations, many hope it will serve as a lasting legacy of the lessons learned from one of the AKI's crises, with the matter in court at the moment. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
President Barrow today gave an assurance to Gambians that his government is doing everything possible to restore stable electricity supply across the country, following widespread power outages, especially in the Greater Banjul area. He made the remarks in an interview with QTV's Aliou Cisse earlier today.
Addressing the ongoing energy challenges, the president described electricity as a national security priority and says the government remains fully committed to resolving the crisis.
I know you are equally affected by the electricity crisis, and even saying where is the president. How concerned are you, and what assurance can you give to Gambians?
And with electricity, we are very concerned. We are concerned because electricity is, we consider as national security for us. That's why we are doing everything possible to restore stable electricity in this country.
He reminded Gambians that the country had enjoyed nearly 2 years of relatively stable electricity before the recent disruption, which he attributes to technical challenges.
For 2 years, we are having stable electricity in this country. But because it was stable, it's good news, no noise. But for 2 weeks, there is a lot of noise going on. But these are technical issues. Technical issues are beyond our control.
The president highlighted the Gambia's regional energy cooperation, explaining that power trading between neighboring countries benefit both sides. He cautioned that addressing energy shortage requires long-term investment and planning, noting that major power projects can take years to materialize.
But we are working 24/7 with our partners, because we are partnering with Guinea, we are partnering with Senegal. Let me tell you something very interesting. You know, people think we are just taking power from Senegal. Senegal is also taking power from us. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's vice versa. They're also taking power from us. There are areas that are taken from Gambia. So we swap at the end of the month to know who will pay who. So this is the way it works. Even America, part of America is taking power from Canada.
Despite the challenges, the president assured Gambians that his government is working closely with international partners and local stakeholders to restore a sustainable, reliable electricity supply.
Power is highly technical, and it's not quick fix. You don't go to the market and buy it. If you run, we run a tender for 50 megawatts. It took us 2 years to complete the tender. So it's not quick fix. We have just completed the tender. We are negotiating in terms. Negotiation until we start work on the ground, it will be 2027, maybe even 2028. So power is not quick fix. And we have to understand that Gambia is a third world country. Our resources are limited. But we have been very, very, very innovative all these years to do everything possible to make sure there is power in country. We promise Gambians that we will restore this power because we have a very, very good relationship with our partners and in country also. We can get 70 megawatts in country. You know how much that costs us? It costs about $28 or $30 million. So it is not quick fix.
As households and businesses continue to grapple with intermittent outages, the president says he is committed to preventing prolonged disruptions while asking for the patience and understanding of the public. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
As a partial internet shutdown disrupted services across the Gambia on Thursday, affecting businesses and communications, one operator remained up and running. While many users struggled to stay connected, Qcell, the country's only Gambian-owned mobile telecommunications company, continued to provide uninterrupted internet services, highlighting the importance of network resilience and backup infrastructure, Alusise reports.
Less than 24 hours after the disruption to internet services, President Barrow today visited the Africa Coast to Europe East landing station in Bijilo, the country's main international gateway, to gather first-hand information on what caused the outage and what needed to be done to prevent reoccurrence. While several operators experienced difficulties, Qcell remained operational, ensuring that thousands of customers maintain access to critical digital services. Lamin Jabi, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, explained that technical equipment failures at the station led to the disruption, affecting multiple service providers and exposing vulnerabilities within the communications network. He said the President's visit reflected the strategic importance the government attaches to the communications infrastructure, adding that the President has given a directive for uninterrupted power supply to the station.
So we need to make sure that this place is kept and is operated with efficiency and effectiveness.
The minister offered an apology to Gambians affected by the disruption. The outage also demonstrated the value of investing in redundancy and alternative connectivity routes. Redundancy in engineering terms, meaning the international duplication of critical components or functions of a system with the goal of increasing reliability of the system. Q Group Chairman Mohamed Jah says Qcell's ability to remain online was a result of years of investment in independent infrastructure, network redundancy, and alternative power sources.
Today we are the only independent telecommunication company where our products and services doesn't depend on any other company. And we have redundancies we have created in our network to make sure that when one area goes down, the other area is up. So that is what has happened yesterday, and we are proud to say that we were up and running, and we hope that we will not have these scenarios in the country. Qcell is ready to help other service providers also to have the same level of service level. We are Gambians, and we want to work with everybody to make sure that the telecommunication market is stable, reliable, and accessible to all Gambians living here.
According to Chairman Jah, Qcell has built multiple layers of backup into its network, allowing services to continue even when one connection path is affected.
Well, the fact that government liberalized the fiber cable deployment, the backbone deployment, and fiber to home, fiber to office, it was not liberalized. I want to be clear here. It was not liberalized only for Qcell. It was a sector liberalization. Today, I am happy to say that the whole country, we have a backbone crisscrossing the entire country. Anybody who wants a fiber connection to his home or office, we can also give it to you, immediately. With this liberalization, if it did not happen, the whole country would have been down yesterday. But because of the liberalization and the fact that Q Group or Qcell invested, close to $20 million on the project, the past 1 year shows that, we are ready for the future. We want the Gambians to, enjoy internet and to do their work without any problem.
Minister Jabi pointed to recent reforms encouraging operators to diversify connectivity sources and strengthen backup arrangements.
And I think they are all going to learn from what the Qcell has done. But we are happy to state that Qcell was able to do that because we went ahead with the infrastructure sharing regulations. There were a lot of resistance in this country to that. But when I came in as a minister, I insisted that the regulation has to be passed, and I make sure that it is passed, and it was passed.
So I want to commend His Excellency the President. He came to the GSC today to see, for himself what is on the ground. I want to commend him and thank him and his government for giving ICT, or the telecom market or the telecom industry priority, because this shows that this sector is very important to him. And I also want to thank, the minister, Lamin Jabi. Since he came as minister, he has been revolutionizing the sector with a lot of reforms so I want to thank him with his staff.
The outage is another reminder that in today's digital economy, connectivity is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Aliou Cisse.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national news stories, to stay tuned. Welcome back, and this is QTV News, and I am Jacqueline Collie. Here are the rest of tonight's stories. The Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines on Friday signed a petroleum exploration, development and production license agreement for offshore Block A1 with Eni Gambia Limited on behalf of the government of the Gambia. Yafatu Gay tells us more.
The agreement, signed on June 5, 2026, grants ENI the right to explore offshore Block A1, a large deep-water area covering about 1,300 square kilometers off the Gambia's Atlantic coast. It lies within the high prospective Mauritania, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, MSGBC basin, which has a history of a significant hydrocarbon discoveries. The signing ceremony brought together senior government officials, members of the Petroleum Negotiation Committee, the Petroleum Commission, and representatives from ENI. Officials described the agreement as a significant milestone for the Gambia's petroleum sector and a strong signal that the country remains attractive to international investors. Here is the Minister of Petroleum, Energy and Mines, Nani Juara.
As a government, we believe this partnership will help accelerate such exploration activities and enhance technical data acquisition that will help ultimately to result to a commercial discovery.
Kani Jobtal, Director General of the Petroleum Commission, provided an overview of the licensing process.
This does not mean that we have discovered oil and gas. It means that we have secured a partner who will, through a science-led, data-backed series of programs of activities, advance our exploration activities towards, hopefully, the discovery of commercial oil and gas.
Block A1 lies in the region of the Atlantic margin, where oil and gas discoveries have already been made in neighboring countries. Geological and geophysical studies suggest the area has promising hydrocarbon potential, although actual petroleum reserves can only be confirmed through further exploration activities. The block was formerly held by BP, which acquired it in 2019 but relinquished the acreage in 2021 after shifting its corporate strategy towards renewable energy. BP ultimately settled outstanding drilling commitments by paying damages to the Gambia. Aldo Napolitano, Exploration Director of ENI, shared the company's vision of the project.
We hope that we will all remember this day as in the future as the start of a successful story and, of course, of a long-lasting friendship as well.
While no oil has yet been discovered in the Gambia, the signing of the PEPLA gives the country a fresh opportunity to determine whether commercially viable petroleum resources exist offshore. If successful, the project could open a new chapter in the Gambia's economic development and strengthen its position in West African energy sector. Geologically, Block A1 is considered highly attractive because it sits along the same trend as major producing oil and gas fields in neighboring Senegal, such as the Sangomar field. For now, the agreement represents hope, investment, and renewed push to uncover what may lie beneath the Gambia's waters. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
The Gambia Tourism Board has expressed serious concern over what it says are deteriorating sanitary conditions, illegal structures, and persistent environmental violations in some of the country's key tourism development areas. I was with the GT Board on a day-long site visit, and this is my report. During a day-long sensitization and compliance inspection along the tourism development area, GT Board officials encountered several issues ranging from construction materials obstructing pedestrian pavements to illegal businesses operating in unsustainable locations and unsanitary waste disposal practices. One of the most concerning discoveries was a structure operating as a bar, restaurant, and a lounge in the Bijilo area, despite being near a sewage disposal site. Ida Jengjai is the Director General of the Gambia Tourism Board.
And GT Board issued a notice of closure. They refused, and by that effect they decided to take us to court, because we have seen that it's not healthy and it's not conducive for visitors to come and visit. And besides, it's illegal, because they never sought any permission from the Gambian Tourism Board or any.
Another structure at Batakunku, located on the edge of the coastline, was identified as illegal, and the owner was told to vacate the place.
GT Board was here on 3 different occasions to advise as to what to do, and at one occasion they were so violent to the extent that they wanted to attack one of the staff members, which is not right.
The board also observed something which is a common sight across much of the Gambia, namely the continued presence of construction materials on pedestrian walkways, this time in parts of Bakau and Fajara, obstructing public access and spoiling the appearance of the tourism corridor. Here is Lamin Bojang, the Product Development Manager with the Gambia Tourism Board.
The bricks, the sand and everything is left on the pedestrian part, footpath. So now it is forcing pedestrians to share the same road with the vehicles, which is risky. And also it's an eyesore for a tourism industry. You know, you cannot have this. This is what we're also showing, that stakeholders must not be doing this kind of things. So
GT board officials expressed dissatisfaction with the frequent movement of waste disposal trucks through the tourism area, which generate dust impacting nearby businesses, hotels and visitors. Molfama Sise, a tourist taxi driver in Bijilo, explains the tourist complaints.
Here, big problem. These trucks, this sanitation. Sometimes all the tourists, they're complaining. Look, this building is full of tourists. But look, dust everywhere. So what are we going to do about it? GT board have to help us, because we see this all the time.
The inspection further uncovered poor waste management practices behind several hotels, including areas around the back gates of hotels in Bijilo Tourism Zone. Officials observed piles of garbage, foul odor, and cut trees branches discarded in open spaces behind some properties, creating an eyesore and making them environmental and public health hazards. Officials say this compliance exercise began earlier in the week and that some improvements were observed during follow-up visits. However, they maintain that significant work is required to address the sanitation, environmental, and regulatory challenges identified during the inspection. Addressing these problems will be to the benefit of Gambian residents and visitors to the country. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Coley. The Q Group Foundation has donated a set of Gambian authored books to 4 lower basic schools as part of efforts to revive reading culture among students, especially those in lower basic schools. Mamadou Gajaga attended the handing over ceremony and he now reports.
The Q Group supported the launch of this trilogy of books titled Mischievous Mosquitoes of Banjul, The Move Slouching Towards Bakau, and Mission Accomplished, the urban takeover authored by Mamadou Ndao, a Gambian based in the United States, by hosting the launch at Q City in Bijilo in January of this year. The Q Group Foundation, under the leadership of its executive director, Aissatou Jah, has extended that support by donating a set of these books to 4 lower basic schools at a ceremony on Thursday at the Q Group House. Mrs. Jah says they realize there is a pressing need to revive a reading culture in schools, especially for those in lower grades.
We want our children to have interest in reading. Right now, a lot of people don't read. Everybody's into videos, just scrolling. And I'm afraid that one day we might not be able to read anymore, you know. So we want our children to go back to books.
The books focused on how our environment has been neglected through lack of proper sanitation mechanisms, leading to infestation of mosquitoes in Banjul, the capital city of the Gambia, Bakau, and other parts of the greater Banjul area. The stories followed a lively band of mischievous mosquitoes, whose adventures take them from Banjul to Bakau and into the wider urban spaces. Through playful storytelling, the books introduce young readers to lessons on curiosity, problem-solving, community living, and public health in a way that is both engaging and relatable. Serif K. Kanye, the Principal Education Officer, Region 1, with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and Day Hadimbai, Headmistress, Albion Methodist Lower Basic School, say these books will help students read and at the same time raise awareness about the environment.
This is for kids who are going to school at the lower grades. And then if we can train them, there are 3 or more points that we can elaborate on this. 1, to furnish the schools with Gambian author books is very important.
That is Albion Methodist Lower Basic School. We don't joke when it comes to reading. From grade 2 to grade 6, every week, children will go with books and they will come. But these ones, I know, it will be more than a big plus for them.
Lasana Tunkara, Head of Corporate Affairs at the Q Group, gave an example of how these books has benefited his children, adding that reading these books will raise the awareness of children on the importance of keeping their surroundings clean.
When Mr. Ndar came, he was on QTV, and I met with him, and then he gave me a set of the books, and I was reading them. I was like, I took them home to my children. And they were so enthralled, not just to have the books, but the stories inside these books, like Mrs. Jha says, to start children young with good ideas.
For the students, these books are more than pages. They are tools for a greener, more literate future. It is hoped that these books will contribute to a new reading culture in the beneficiary schools. Mumudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Here's a recap of the headlines. President Barrow today inaugurated the Gambia's first ever laboratory for food and drugs testing located at Brusubi Turntable. The World Bank and the government of the Gambia funded facility aims to enhance public health by providing rigorous testing and quality assurance for food and drug products. President Barrow today gave an assurance to Gambians that his government is doing everything possible to restore stable electricity supply across the country following widespread power outages, especially in the Greater Banjul area. As a partial internet shutdown disrupted services across the Gambia on Thursday, affecting businesses and communications, one operator remained up and running. While many users struggled to stay connected, QCell, the country's only Gambian-owned mobile telecommunications company, continued to provide uninterrupted internet services, highlighting the importance of network resilience and backup infrastructure. The Ministry of Petroleum, Energy and Mines on Friday signed a petroleum exploration, development and production license agreement for offshore Block A1 with Eni Gambia Limited on behalf of the government of the Gambia. The Gambia Tourism Board has expressed serious concern over what it says are deteriorating sanitary conditions, illegal structures and persistent environmental violations in some of the country's key tourism development areas. That's all for this bulletin. You can join us again tomorrow night for another bulletin. Many thanks for joining us and bye.